Hello, my name is Naomi Roberts. So a bit about me. I grew up in the northeast of England. I was baptised Catholic just a few months after I was born. And for me, my faith as a child in like primary school, reception class especially, was pretty exciting. I used to, with my friend Andrew especially, we used to act out Bible stories. So we used to pick one that we both knew, or if not, teach each other about one because we used to see each other at church as well. So we made this connection that we both had something in common. And we'd use the toy box in the playground to act out Bible stories, which was pretty impressive, really. Evangelization in the playground. But it didn't last long. I think once I started to realize that that wasn't potentially the coolest thing to do, we quickly stopped. And, we became very aware of ourselves as we grew older in primary school, as most people do. And actually, this led to really disconnect with my faith, not just because of that, but because I had some questions. I had questions about my faith, about why I had to go to church on a Sunday because we went as a family, why I couldn't go to a sleepover on a whole weekend and happened to miss mass, why that wasn't acceptable as a Catholic family. So a lot of questions, very few answers, which is, I think, where the disconnect started to happen, and the disconnect became into a bit of a resistance, and I really resisted my faith and didn't want to be involved in church activities. I didn't want to pray. I didn't want to say the prayers or sing the hymns. I was really, I'm not going to say I was really rebellious, because I wasn't in the grand scheme of things. It's relative. But as a Catholic, I had some real rebel Catholic moments, like I refused to make the sign of the cross, for example. You know how it is. So this went on through school and through secondary school, and I can remember though one, because obviously I'm sat here now sharing my faith story, so it must have had a turning point, right? And it did in year 10. I remember very vividly, it was the weekend, and it came out on social media, so I'm talking like Facebook and Bebo, a bit retro, that one of our, really tragically, someone in our school community had passed away, a student in the year below me. He was called Connor, and he had passed away. And it was really bizarre. We were all at our homes at the weekend. We got this news online. We didn't know whether it was real. And I think most of us probably going to school on Monday hoping it wasn't real, hoping that it was some sort of mistake, that someone had really badly got the wrong end of the stick. But it sadly was very true. And the only timetable I can ever remember in my life is my year 10 Monday timetable, because I remember that we had our really first lesson on Monday. I think it was actually a double lesson, but I remember we were sat in that class as year 10 students, knowing that someone in the year below us in year 9 had left us. They'd gone, they weren't there anymore. And this person was actually really close to my friend. So I had some friends in the year below me, and he was really close to them. And I felt a real sense of duty to them to help them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to. We spent this lesson, and maybe it was planned, maybe it was just led by the teacher in response to what happened, but either way, it was just such a good time for us. And it's so bizarre to say it was a good time, because I guess real sadness and despair can go hand in hand with grace and joy, and that is the beauty of our faith. So we spent time. We were sad, we were together, we unpacked what happened to Connor's soul now. Where was he? And all of these lessons had happened in our lives previous years, but actually it was happening now with someone in mind that we knew. So we spent the whole lesson just unpacking this idea and this concept, and wondering and thinking about and praying about Connor and for his soul and for eternal rest. And at the end of the lesson, we prayed together. We didn't often do that at first or second lesson in the day. It's more a beginning or end of the day thing. And we have times of prayer at school, obviously, but this one was special because I think many of us in that classroom chose to pray, chose to actually connect, and actually saw a purpose to our prayer, and not just saying the words so that we don't get told off or put in a report. It was different, and I think that's the first time in so many years that I felt a connection to faith, and to God, and felt God alive in my life. So I guess that triggered a longer discussion with myself and with my faith, and learning about God and learning about the Catholic faith and all the beauty it has. One thing happened. I ended up on the parish music team, which is, if you know me now, I'm not a musician, far from it, but I played viola at school. So I was lured onto the parish, willingly onto the parish music team, and it kept me in church, if nothing else. It gave me something to do, and it allowed me to think more deeply about the Mass and actually grow in my love for the Mass and the different parts, because I was playing the parts, because I had to play music, example, for the Holy Holy or a different Mass part in the Mass setting. I wanted to learn about why I was doing that. I held myself accountable to that why. So yeah, that happened, and I guess that kept me there. The following year, after sixth form, this is, I ended up in Devon for a week at Celebrate, which is a conference run by the Catholic Charismatic Renewal. Bit of a mouthful, but it's excellent. And I was there with the youth service I was volunteering with, and I remember just being surrounded in this space by people who were praying, but not in a way that I'd ever seen anyone pray. They were happy, first of all. They were like smiling, joyful. Some were dancing, some were singing. It was just amazing. It was just a beautiful moment, and I felt the feeling that I'd felt in that prayer in year 10, and I was like, wow, I've not felt this in a while. I've been learning about it and knowing about it, but I've not felt it really in a while. So I came away from that week really motivated. It was a balance of fascination and motivation, I'd say, because I was really fascinated by what this movement is, and I'm still involved in it today. I was really fascinated, but also I'm really motivated to be more of that, to let whatever that was into my life more, so that I could just be more like these people and feel more often. Turns out it was the Holy Spirit. It was the Holy Spirit manifest in their lives, and I just love that is part of my life today. And I'm so blessed that I get to know that, and I have that knowledge and understanding. I'm not saying I know it all or understand it all, but I'm aware of the Holy Spirit, and I'm so pleased that God's led me on this journey to this point where I can look at my friends and look at the joyful situation we're having and know that that is God. Or I can think about a time in my life when I was hurt or betrayed, and actually the unnatural sense of peace I have after that, and the healing that I've received is God, is the Holy Spirit at work. And on the other hand, when I've hurt people as well, and that sense of forgiveness and that real healing that can come after those times, it's just a bit unnatural. It's because it is of the divine, it's God. There's loads of, obviously the journey goes on, and I'm sat here today. It was 10 years ago since I was at that conference and had that sort of moment of realization of my faith, but actually it doesn't end. The story doesn't end. There's no ending to this story. So I'm going to leave it there and just say that actually it's really exciting to see God's creative pencil and pens in our lives, and drawing up new plans, and surprising us and exciting us what the future holds. So yeah, thank you for asking me about my story. Hope it wasn't too much of a ramble. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the show.